Good morning, everyone. We got a heck of a show today. Why? Because yesterday I asked you, my viewers, for feedback. Should I or should I not do an interview with Turkey Tom, the YouTube documentarian who just made a documentary about me last week? And after having dialogue back and forth with him, I was kind of on the fence. So, you gave me overwhelming amounts of feedback. Wow, that was way more than I expected. And on today's show, I'm going to discuss said feedback and tell you about what answer and conclusion I have come to. So, we got an interesting show right around the bend. See you there. All right, everyone. So let's jump into it. Today is Sunday, the 19th of November, 2023. This is the Level 1 Podcast. I welcome you here to the show. Before we get into the meat of what today's discussion will be, because this undoubtedly will take up the majority of the show, I think what we should do is get through kind of the other stuff first, okay? So that way we can get to the meat of the show and we can move on, all right? So, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the schedule for the rest of the week. Let's talk about what's going on with my current playthroughs. Get that out of the way, and then we'll get to the subject at hand. First of all, I do want to say thank you all for the feedback. Because when I ask for feedback, as I told you guys, more often than not these days, I make my decisions directly based on what you guys say. Because I realize that my choices here on stream, in my life, anything really that affects my content affects you. It's not just about me, it's about us, this community, and making sure that I'm not creating an environment that's not fun to be in, right? And I feel like, sadly, I did make some choices, notably earlier this year, where that happened. And that's on me, right? So I was very apprehensive about the possibility of jumping into an interview with someone else. We're going to talk a little bit about that in a second. I'm going to give you the background and a summary. I'm going to tell you what I was considering on each side of the equation and why I was so apprehensive to do the interview. And then I'm going to tell you about the feedback I got overnight. And then I'm going to tell you about my final conclusion. All right? So, excuse me. Before we get to all that, which will be undoubtedly the meat of the show, let's quickly get through the other stuff. All right? First of all, I'm in the midst of many playthroughs. All right, yesterday was Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer day, and we did it as a daytime stream, and you guys loved it, and so did I. Even though, admittedly, every match wasn't great because the connections are very wonky in this game. Sometimes you'll get an absolutely great match with a great connection, and you're getting kill streaks, and your shots are accurate, and everything is great. And then the next match, it's like you're playing in a bowl of fucking molasses. You can't move, your shots are delayed. It's really stupid. So, I absolutely had a great time playing it, even though there was frustration, and I think that's part of the enjoyment of me playing that game. You never know what you're going to get. You might get Phil beasting, getting crazy kill streaks and score streaks and summoning the Juggernaut and going nuts, or you might get Phil just completely getting dominated because the game is fucking lagging and shit, and that's fun to watch too, let's be honest, right? There's absolutely, we absolutely positively know that it's a mixed bag when it comes to content with me, especially Street Fighter, any competitive game online. My successes are entertaining, but so are my failures, and I get that. I also know that's why people were campaigning to get Modern Warfare 3 back as a daytime stream. When it's a night stream, only 2 hours, well, the first hour is usually the daily challenges, and then there's barely enough time to really get into the meat of me trying something with a weapon set or a build, and then we're out of time. So having this as a daytime stream worked really well yesterday. I got to do a bunch of gameplay. I unlocked a bunch of stuff, including an auto shotgun, which is working really, really well. I just had a great time. And I know that the viewers did too, because not only was, you know, people having a great time in chat, but they were engaged. They were supported the stream in droves. They really enjoyed this. So thank you to anyone who came for Modern Warfare 3 yesterday. Again, that was a direct result of your feedback. You guys telling me you wanted it back on the daytime stream. I did what you wanted, and you seem to love it. So that's excellent. And moving forward, we'll try to keep Modern Warfare 3 in the daytime stream to see how it goes. Okay? Pretty cool. Now, late stream last night was Like a Dragon Gaiden. This game is exactly what I expected. It plays just like the other Yakuza games from the past. Open world exploration, quirky side missions and content, you know, little mini missions here and there, tons of combat in the streets and a leveling system. And I would argue that this series, the Like a Dragon, Yakuza series, whatever you want to call it, because it's had multiple names, is definitely one of the best for late night chill streaming. It allows us to have fun conversation. It allows us to enjoy not only the content and discuss the game, but have other conversations as well, because the game is open like that. I will just say, though, by the end of the stream, I was a little disappointed. The last 20 or 30 minutes, people got really quiet. I don't know what happened. People kind of clammed up and stopped talking. I don't know if it was getting late or whatever, but I was a little disappointed there because, again, the whole point of the game is it's a chill stream game. I want to have that level of interaction and hanging out with you guys and conversation, and people kind of got real tight-lipped at the end, and I don't know why only at the end of the stream that happened, but for the most part, it was a really great stream, had a good time. It was an outstanding streaming day yesterday. Okay, let's quickly talk about the rest of the week, because we've got a special week coming up of holiday fun and all kinds of stuff. So today, it's React Day, meaning after this podcast ends, which might run long, we'll see, depends on, you know, how long I have to explain my decision-making here about this thing, we're going to swing over to my sister channel, DSP Reacts, and on that channel, we're going to be watching clips as submitted by you, the members of that channel. It's a great thing. We're going to have Black Friday and Thanksgiving themed stuff. We've got some documentary style stuff, some comedy stuff, gaming related stuff. It's a good variety this week, a good mix. So I hope you'll go over there and join me for that show. And if you're on the live stream when this actual podcast ends, it'll actually direct you right over there and tell you how to get there. Just say click here or whatever. And certainly if you're someone who watches this podcast, I hope that you will consider jumping over to the channel. It's youtube.com/@DSPReacts. It's a great show we do once a week, okay? So, after that show, which will be the entirety of this afternoon, later tonight, it will be a late night stream of content here on DSP Gaming, and this will be something completely different. Tonight, we are going back to Starfield for the first time in over a freaking month. I know. Starfield was a game that came out into September, and when we started playing it, it had momentum, it was interesting, it was playing like a Bethesda game. And then as we got further into Starfield, we kind of realized, wow, all the new mechanics they added to this game, the crafting, the research, weapon modding, building your own ship, space travel, literally, it's all bad. I hate to say it, like literally every new thing they added, every new mechanic sucks. They're not entertaining or fun or anything. They feel like they're kind of half finished. They feel like they're not well thought out, not well tested. How is it that this game has a research tree system that you never need to use ever, but the game acts like it's an integral part of the game? How is it that it has an insane amount of complex weapon mods, none of which are useful because you just keep finding weapons to use anyway? Right? So, basically, this game was not what we thought it was going to be. We thought this will be the next big Fallout, the next Elder Scrolls. No. This game ends up being, okay, go do questing and get through some combat and do some dialogue choices, and get to the next quest and do some combat and do some dialogue choices, and nothing about the game feels unique, and all the new stuff sucks. And the kicker here is that after having spent 40 hours in the game, last time I played it, threw us a story loop that was so crazy. I can't believe they actually wrote this as the story of their game. It literally negates the meaningfulness of anything you have done in the game up to that point. It literally slaps you in the face and was like, well, hope you enjoyed the game up to now. None of that matters. And it actually shocked me so much that they went for that plot line that I decided to not play it for a very long time. I was like, well, if they're not going to respect my time as a gamer, then I'm not going to respect their game, and I'll go back to it whenever I feel like it. So here we are, like 2 months later, and finally I said, all right, I do want to see the story ending of this game. But honestly, because we're, and the thing is, I can explain this more fully once we beat it. Once I beat the game, I'll be very, very okay with talking about the ending. But right now, I'm apprehensive about spoiling, because it is such a big thing in the plot of the game, okay? But I will talk about it eventually, I promise you. So anyway, I want to see the end of the story of the game. I don't really care about anything else anymore. There's 2 entire factions that I would have done if I hadn't reached this part in the story, but now I don't care about them anymore. There's entire companion quests that I was interested in. I don't care anymore. That's what happened. This plot literally made me not care about the game. That's pretty bad, that you wrote such a bad plot, not realizing how bad it was, that you inadvertently turned off people who love Bethesda games. I love Bethesda games, just not Starfield. See? So, I want to see where it ends. Alright? So, we are going to play it tonight on the late stream, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. But I don't understand, we have maybe 4-6 hours left. So, we're going to do these final story missions. We're going to get through it. We're going to finish it. So, that way, at least at the end of the year, when I do my game countdowns of the best and worst of the year, I can rank it properly, and I'll know exactly what the end of the game was going for, and I'll be able to fully talk about this game once I beat it. I need to beat it, though. I can't have it lingering 40 hours and not beaten. So that's why we're bringing it back. Now, I'm not going to be playing it nonstop. We'll play it tonight. We'll probably play it again once next week. We'll play it, like, gradually, slowly over time till we beat it over the next few weeks. Okay? Cool. Starting tomorrow, we're back to full-time gaming. On Monday, the main daytime stream will be Super Mario RPG Remake. We played this on Friday when it released. It's quite good. It's exactly what you would expect. It's a great remake with great improved graphics, great remixed music, good gameplay elements. It's a solid outing. I'm really enjoying it, and I hope you'll join me again on Monday for it. Monday night will be more Street Fighter 6 multiplayer as I continue to try to learn and improve with Dalsim. I don't know if I'll just do all casual play again, or maybe I'll start with a little casual play, and then when I feel comfortable, maybe I'll jump over to ranked. I will say this, I need to learn 1 or 2 things with him, because like I said, there's a throw that's really good, and I don't know how to do it. And by the way, I realized after having played that entire session Friday night, I was like, oh yeah, there's a better combo that I can do with him after doing like a low medium punch drive rush, and I didn't do it once. I was like, why didn't I do it? It's an easy ass combo to do. It's way better damage and execution than what I was doing. So I will try to implement that when I play again on Monday night. But anyway, more Street Fighter 6 Monday night, okay? Then Tuesday, it's going to be a major daytime stream of Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer again, and then Tuesday night, Like a Dragon, Gaiden, and that's the week. I'm not here on Wednesday. I know that's a little weird. Normally Thursday would be my day off, but this is a special week with American Thanksgiving on Thursday, so it'll be Wednesday, my day off, Thursday, American Thanksgiving, and we're going to be doing some special stuff on American Thanksgiving. There's actually, and I will give a shout out to Overpowered Boone, he actually found a really cool Thanksgiving trivia quiz that we could do together. All right, what it is a bunch of questions about the history of Thanksgiving and all kinds of stuff, and I think that's something fun to do that day. We could do it together live on stream and see how much we all know about Thanksgiving, because I probably don't know the answers either, right? So it'd be something fun to do, just go through the quiz and kind of, you know, see what kind of questions, like who knows what. In addition, we'll probably do a tier maker that day of ranking foods that you would eat on American Thanksgiving. And I'm only doing one stream on Thanksgiving. It's just going to be the daytime stream, so we'll do the podcast, and then we'll do this, like, chill Thanksgiving Day stream where we hang out, we talk, we do some Q&A, and we do kind of this tier maker, this question, you know, all this stuff. It'll be a fun one. It'll be a fun, chill day, not super serious, just kind of a relaxed, laid-back day. I'm not going to be here on Thanksgiving night because I'm actually going to relax with my family and have a great dinner and have a night off. But then when I come back that Friday, it's marathon time, because this coming Friday, it is the return of the Adpocalypse. All day long on Black Friday, November 24th, I'll be reacting to ads. That is correct. Advertisements as submitted by you. You still have time. If you want to submit ads for this Friday, you can either type !Adpocalypse into the chat, or if you're a channel member, there's a members-only thread that you can post up on the main channel page of this channel, DSPGaming. Please be sure to post up ads. The more ads, the better. If we get 400 ads and we only get through 50, that's much better than we only have 20 ads and we get through all of them in 2 hours and we have nothing to do. Just saying. So on that day, I'll be reacting to ads all day long. I'm going to order some food. We're actually going to have an episode of Feasting with Phil for the first time in ages, which will be really fun. And maybe there'll be some drinking, depending. If we get some contributions of certain level, perhaps I'll take a few shots, and you can pick what shot you want me to drink, because I'll have multiple kinds of liquor that I have left over in my house. So we'll see. We'll see what you guys want, but it should be a fun show. I feel like we're going to have a great time, and the best part about this is that it's laid back, it's relaxing, and it's not going to be anything serious. Usually when I do a marathon, it'll be like, oh, well, we've got to rush and get this game done and do this, and it's not the case in this one. Last year when I did this marathon on Black Friday, a lot of people were critical and were like, oh, this will not happen, this will not be a big deal or whatever, right? Well, guess what? It was the best marathon I did last year. People loved it. People loved it so much they wanted me to bring it back right away. They wanted it for like January, and I was like, nah, we'll hold off. And now here we are a year later. So I think it's going to be great. I certainly hope that you guys will join me for this event this Friday on the 24th. And then after that, we're back to the regular schedule. Full days of gameplay, React stream on Sunday, and we'll continue on. Now keep in mind, once we start wrapping up games that I'm playing now, the next one will be LOLCow, because it was already donated by a viewer, and other viewers also donated the game, to the point now where I'm going to have copies of this game to give out when we actually eventually play LOLCow, okay? So that's pretty cool to know that we're actually going to have multiple copies of this game given out and all of that. It should be great. This should all be good stuff coming up. Nice content, great gameplay, chill, relaxing, and interaction. It's going to be great, all right? I'm very excited for all of it. So that's the schedule right now, all right? And as you guys know, if you like the content, please support it. I am a crowdfunded independent guy. I don't have sponsorships or partnerships. I don't have collaborations with other YouTubers. I don't get paid to play games. I don't shill products on my streams. That's because I have a philosophy that if I put out entertaining enough content for you that's honest and true, and if you know you can trust me in the opinions that I give you on games, that you will reciprocate that kind of content with support. And this has happened for the last, 12, 13 years since I've been doing this for a living, and it's worked. So, if you like this content, please support it in one of the many ways you can. One of the ways is by liking the videos, liking the streams, leaving comments on them. That feedback that I got overnight is critical. That's the kind of stuff I need to make correct decisions for you guys moving forward, and I appreciate that feedback, and it helps the channel. It's called engagement. It makes more people be able to find the content and watch it. So please consider liking videos, liking streams, leaving comments. Super chats and super stickers on a live stream, or super thanks on an on-demand YouTube video help a lot. Those are ways to thank, well, not thank, but support the content, I should say, through YouTube. And I will thank you for those contributions directly, whether a shout out on a stream or a pop-up on the stream, whether I highlight that as a comment on a video on demand or whatever after the fact, okay? So, there you go. Memberships, super important, because number one, you get tons of benefits for a membership. For example, you can get access to all my emotes. You can ignore the slow mode in the chat and talk as much as you want on a stream. You get a cool chat crown badge to show how long you've been a supporter next to your name in the chat. And you get to be prioritized for special events. For example, right now for this Adpocalypse event, members get their ads watched first on the show. You see? So, please consider becoming a member today. We are trying to hit 500 members. We did, and then a bunch of memberships expired. And I was like, oh, man. So if we could get back to 500 members, that would be outstanding. Either consider becoming a member today, or maybe gifting some memberships to the community. As they say, 'tis the season, and a lot of people around here would be accepting of a gifted membership and would appreciate that, okay? Now, one final way to contribute, tipping. This is a direct contribution to PayPal, and this helps me because it's immediate support. I can use it to pay a bill, to buy a game, to get some groceries. It's liquidity for my business. It helps a lot. Tips are very important. I actually get more of a cut of a tip than most other contributions. And because of that, there's rewards in place. If I reach like $50, $100, $150 for tips on any stream, we do like rewards for it. So please consider it. Thanks in advance to anyone who supports my stream or content. Seriously, I really appreciate all of you supporting my stuff over the years. You're the reason I'm here, and the reason that I could still do what I love for a living. Without you, yeah, I wouldn't be able to do this. But you guys still are here for me. I really, really appreciate that. We're of sound mind and similar thought when it comes to the kind of content that I like to put out and you like to enjoy watching, right? And I thank you for that. Okay, now, We got through the intro. What was that, 15 minutes? 19 minutes? All right, we got it done. Because now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the subject, this is the topic that everyone's going to want to hear. This is the part of the podcast that everyone's going to clip, all right? And everyone's going to put all over the internet. And this part of the podcast will be discussed on everyone else's show but mine. Okay? That's how it works, right? The drama portion is what everyone else outside of this stream wants to hear. Maybe you're someone who's a regular and you don't even give a crap. I don't blame you. Why don't I blame you? Because as you know, I'm not a guy who focuses on drama. I'm not a guy who focuses on this on this crap, entertainment value, right? I like putting out content that's game-centered, that's chill. Even though, yes, watching me rage or whatever at a game is entertaining, maybe that's not so chill. It's still fun, right? It's in good humor. You know the kind of content that I like to put out. And you know that I like to avoid drama. But every once in a while, I get sucked into it. And there's not much I can do about it, correct? It's going to happen. In life, you can't always avoid the drama, but it all depends on how you react to it and how you handle it, right? And for a quick summary of what's going on, for those who maybe haven't been around recently, allow me to summarize what's going on so you know why we're in this point today and why I'm talking about this today and why I'm coming to a decision. So, about a week ago, I don't know again because I haven't watched it, but a YouTube documentarian, I don't know, drama video maker. I don't know exactly how you would even categorize him because, again, I never watched his content before. His name's Turkey Tom, and apparently he did a 2-hour documentary on me on his channel, okay? Immediately when it released, Phil, did you hear it? Phil, did you see it? Phil, what do you think? Phil, what's your comment? Phil. And my answer is very simple. I have no comment because I haven't seen it. It's 2 hours long. I don't have time to just drop everything I'm doing in the midst of the busiest time of the year for me, by the way. This is the time of year when I am juggling multiple new release games, right? We got special events going on for the holidays. This is absolutely my busiest work time of the year. It's not like this was like the dead of summer and there's nothing going on and we have dead time and we could, let's just do a big ass react day to this documentary because there's nothing better to do. In reality, it kind of dropped at the worst possible time. If there was an attempt to try to get me to react to it, this was the worst timing for it, right? I'm just so busy already. And by the way, I'm coming off of an illness. I was sick for a week. Now I'm backlogged a week because I was so damn sick. So it's even just compounds the problem, makes it even worse, right? Perhaps, excuse me, perhaps if this documentary had dropped at a different time of the year, I would have reacted to it right away. I don't know. I have done this in the past. Last year, I did a lot of reacting. I reacted to the Frederick Knudsen Down the Rabbit Hole video. I reacted to the John and Howard, basically, attack video about me from 2015. I did a lot of introspection about my past as a content creator, as a person. I fessed up to a lot of shortcomings, mistakes, and problems that I've had, and I think a lot of people appreciated that. To this day, I still see new comments and things posting up on those videos of people watching them and saying, wow, it's really interesting that Phil finally kind of did this. That's cool. Anyway, so this documentary drops, and everyone, of course, is coming to my streams asking me about it, and I have nothing to say. I really have nothing to say about it because I haven't seen it. How can you say something's good or bad, true or false, if you don't see it, right? So my attitude is I'm just going to ignore it. We'll just move on. But undoubtedly, of course, what happens is over the week, people keep asking me and prodding me. Did you hear that Tom said that he feels that the helicopter job you had back in the day was because of nepotism, that your dad was a high-up manager at the company and he got you the job. It's the only reason you had it, and it's ironic that you lost the job because it was a nepotism job that you still lost it, right? No, I didn't hear that. I didn't watch the documentary. It's completely false. It's completely ridiculously false, not even close to the truth. But no, I didn't hear that because, again, I'm not watching this documentary. What do you think about the fact that he titled the documentary 10 Years of Failure? Don't you think that that's clickbait? Don't you think that that's toxic and negative? Yeah, I think it's clickbait. I think it is toxic and negative. I talked in my streams. I was playing Mario one day, and I'm talking about how I don't think you can accurately call it 10 years of failure because failure is a subjective judgment, right? How do you fail? Well, fail at what? There's levels of success that you can judge. Sure, if you want to talk about viewership and money that I bring in, you could say that it's been 10 years of failure because, yeah, I'm not popular today like I was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, right? At the same time, if I'm happier, healthier, and I'm okay with who I am as a content creator, and I know I'm not hurting people when I make content, and I know I'm not being toxic when I make content, and I know that it's positive stuff, and I love it, and my viewers love it, and it's a community that supports, what is wrong with that? And how can you say that someone who's operating a successful business is a failure? Right? Maybe per your, again, subjective judgments of, oh, this is a level of success you should have or could have had. This is a level of viewership. If you had done this and done this differently and done this differently and done this differently, you could have been huge. Fair enough. But hindsight's 2020. Back then, things were different. There was no, how do you say, blueprint of how to be a YouTuber. There was no even history of successful YouTubers at that point to see what they did to be successful. I was there at the beginning, right? So there was no track record of this is what you do to win. This is what you do to grow. This is what you do. And over the years, I did make mistakes. I made missteps. I've already admitted to them many times. Again, we were watching the Frederick Knudsen documentary. And me watching that documentary opened my eyes to a lot of things about how badly I reacted to certain things that completely blew up in my face and stuff like that. You know. Again, I don't know to what extent Tom talks about this stuff in his documentary because I didn't have 2 hours to watch it, right? We didn't do a live react to it. Anyway, so yeah, I have issue with the title of the documentary. I feel it's clickbait. I feel it's misrepresentative. If you wanted to call it 10 years of decline, 10 years of, you know, I don't know, on the downward slope, that makes sense. But failure? Failure is subjective. You can judge something as a failure. I don't think anything I've done is a big failure. I'm still here. I'm still enjoying content. I'm still making a living. How is that failure? And by the way, I'm happier today than I've ever been. How is that failure, right? Anyway, so I said these kind of things over the last week as people kind of asked me questions about the documentary during my streams. And again, I'm just answering on the fly off the cuff during my streams. I haven't seen this thing, okay? So apparently a few days ago, Turkey Tom, I guess, responded again and basically said, well, okay, basically what happened was, I guess Tom had said on his content that he wanted to talk to me, like he wanted to do an interview because he was fascinated now with some of my responses and he wanted to like talk to me and do like a one-on-one deal. And I said, well, I'm not a hard guy to find. There's many ways you could contact me, right? You could email me, you could DM me on Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it, among other ways, but there's public ways to contact me. It's all over my YouTube page and everything. This is how you do it. So Turkey Tom did DM me on Twitter, and we've had a back and forth over the course of the last week or so, okay? And essentially the discussion is this. I don't think he's going to have a problem with me talking about this publicly because it's very common conversation. There's no private info here. Basically, he first responded and said, so I want to have a conversation with you, but I want to talk about everything. I want to talk about the mobile game drama. I want to talk about the LOLCow podcast and Keemstar. I want to talk about your history as a content creator. I want to talk about your community. I want to talk about the drama around you. I want to talk about all this stuff, okay? So we had a conversation, and after going back and forth many times about this, essentially, okay, the way that we narrowed it down was this. I said, first of all, I'm not going on any podcast. I'm not going on anything related to Keemstar. Everyone kind of knows my opinion on this guy at this point. I want nothing to do with this guy at all, all right? So if you want to talk, it'll be a one-on-one conversation. That's fine. What would you want to do? And essentially, he's like, yeah, it would be like a one-on-one conversation, not a live stream. It would be like a show we do, a live video or whatever. Or not live video, excuse me, an on-demand video offline that he would then, you know, upload after the fact. And I basically told him, I said, listen, if you're looking for me to essentially rediscuss all the drama stuff that I've already discussed on my content in the freaking Side Scrollers podcast earlier this year, you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm done with that stuff. That was the whole point of me doing that Side Scroller show, was to get it out of the way. I've talked about it now. It's over. If you want my answers, you have them. I'm not going to change my answers because that's the truth. So either you watch that or you don't believe me or not. It doesn't matter. There's no point in re-asking me the same questions. You'll get the same answers 100 times. Okay? So basically I said, excuse me, You know, if you want to talk about me, my content, my history as a YouTuber, right? Stuff like that, my community, that's cool. But don't expect me to sit down and give any attention to Keemstar and all that shit. Don't expect me to talk about fucking mobile games and dumb shit. I'm done with all of that. It's just behind me at this point. I don't want to involve my community in drama anymore. And I explained to him that earlier this year with that Side Scrollers podcast, all right? Sadly, that was a situation where I decided to do it. I shouldn't have. It was against my better judgment. I did it anyway. I trusted them. And that was something that was very harmful to my community for months. My community told me for months after that, wow, that really sucked because now we got nothing but toxic element all around you and your content. People constantly talking shit about you. It's messed up. You shouldn't have done it, right? And I regret it now, you know, but it is what it is. It's out there. It's done. Thank God, right? And so why would I want to go back to that, right? We're past that, right? So basically I said to him, you know, it would have to be non-related to all that stuff. And he kind of agreed. He said, all right, we don't have to talk about that. We can still have a one-on-one conversation about other stuff, you know, again, your content, your history as a creator, all this stuff. And I was like, all right, well, here's the deal. Allow me to talk to my community about it, right? Because I want feedback from them before I make a decision. Unlike what I did earlier this year, where I feel like I made a huge mistake, right? I went out and I did this interview, and it basically turned into a hate fest against me for several months. People reveled in the drama and all the shit. They all got their jollies off. They all made tons of money from my hate watchers, right? And in the meantime, all my fans and viewers are bothered by a bunch of harassment online and toxic shit. It's like, this is the opposite of what people want, okay? So let me talk to my audience. Let me directly decide with my audience what we want to do, and I'll get back to you, all right? So, as you guys know, all right, yesterday we talked about this on this very show, and, excuse me, simply proposing the idea to you guys, okay? I got interesting responses in the chat, all right? Some of the responses I got live were fascinating. Some people, all right, were completely on board. Wow, Phil, so you mean you're going to have an interview where you're not going to talk about all that bullshit drama, but instead actually just about you and your content? Well, this would be good for you. You'll have an opportunity to talk about yourself and what you stand for and your content and everything, and not have it misrepresented, because it's not going to have that drama element to it. Instead, it's going to be just discussion about more important things, right? And then some people were like, yeah, this will give you exposure. You know, Turkey Tom's audience likely doesn't know who you are or didn't know who you were until they watched this documentary. And now to actually have a conversation with you, to actually, you know, see who you are as a person, maybe some people would give it a shot and will come over and watch your content, right? Give it a look. It's good exposure, right? Others are staunchly against it. They're like, oh my God, Phil, are you out of your mind? After earlier this year, what happened? After you trusted people and you were basically treated like dirt, and then we had to go through that crap for 2-3 months until it finally calmed down in the early summertime or whatever. And like, why would you even think about possibly doing this again? Are you dumb? Right? Did you not learn your lesson the first time? People, I hate to say it, but after the Side Scrollers thing, there's sadly a chunk of my viewership, my audience, who feels like I will never be given a fair shake, ever, by anyone on the internet. That everyone has this underlying agenda, right? That people are, simply put, just trying to fool me so that they'll get me in a situation where then they can get personal benefit out of having interaction with me. Let's be honest, I am one of the most sought after people for an interview. In this last year, I've had people offering me thousands of dollars for an interview, which I turned down, okay? People want to talk to me, but I refuse, because I know that these people don't have my best interests of me or my community in mind, that they literally just want to pull me into a drama vortex for their own personal benefit, right? The more I say, the more content they have to put out on the internet that's toxic and negative about me, and it gives them money. So that's all it is. You're trying to drive me into that crap, right? So, there's a lot to think about here, right? I asked you guys for feedback overnight. Let me tell you, I got more feedback than I bargained for. I got more feedback than I ever expected. I had people who I haven't talked to in a while who actually wrote me, okay? You know, I haven't spoken to you in years, but I just want to let you know, here's what I think about this situation with this interview with Turkey Tom. I'm like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. Tons of people left comments on the video. Thank you for that. Like I said, I got emails, I got messages, DMs about it from every corner of the internet. I was like, holy crap. Like, I thought I'd get like 10 people. I got like 100. It was like wild, the amount of feedback that I got, okay? And again, essentially, there's now 3 schools of thought on this, all right? Number 1 is any exposure is good exposure. It doesn't matter if you do this interview and you look good or you look bad. It doesn't matter if you do this interview and you actually talk about meaningful topics so people learn about you, or if Turkey Tom actually baits you into toxic stuff. Any exposure is good exposure for you right now. So who cares if it's positive or negative, right? Just do it, okay? The other school of thought is absolutely don't do it, because the flip side of that is anything you do affects everybody. And right now, you've spent a year building up good faith with your audience, telling them you weren't going to involve yourself in drama, telling them that after the side scrollers thing you learned, and you're not going to keep involving yourself in this kind of stuff. You did a good job this year. You stayed out of the drama with things like this LOLCow podcast where people kept trying to get your go and threaten you and get you to do stuff, and you didn't do any of it. And that's a good thing, that you stayed out of it because you made the right decisions, right? So don't do it, Doug. No matter what, there is no positive spin on this. It's just going to be bad for you and everybody else, okay? And then there's some people who, interestingly enough, are middle of the boat. They're not going off the one end or the other end. They're kind of like, well, here's the thing. It's kind of possibility for good or bad. Because if, hold on, because I'm stretching my back right now, kind of decompressing it. If Turkey Tom is being honest, I know I look weird right now, but, you know, when you have back problems, sometimes you got to decompress your back. If Turkey Tom is being honest, right? And if he is being transparent and if he's being truthful, right? Then this interview would probably be pretty good, right? To actually have someone just sit down and talk about you and your history as a creator and what you stand for and why you made the decisions you did and the things you've done over the years and stuff. And if you're not bringing up nonsensical drama shit that everyone else has already covered, all their conspiracies that are constantly circulated, the same exact bullshit conspiracy information in a circle, constant, just keeps spinning, right? If that's the case, then it's actually could be good. But again, the question really is, and this is actually what I really most appreciate is some people who used an analytical mind towards it. They're like, the whole point of you granting an interview would be because you have something to talk about and you feel that it's going to be beneficial, right? What's the point of doing an interview if it doesn't help anything, right? And I'm like, that does make sense. Absolutely. If I have a point to get across, if I have something I want to speak about, and I wanted to have an audience outside of just my own, because let's be honest, me talking to you guys right now live on the podcast, how many people are on the stream right now? I'm going to guess 350. 575. There's more people on the podcast than I even suspected, okay? Well, in reality, my usual audience is around 300 people on a podcast, okay? So me talking to you, this is like the preacher preaching to the choir, right? You guys are here every day. You like the stuff. You like me. You understand where I come from. You don't need me to tell you about what I stand for. You know already. You're here, right? But for me to go to an outside podcast or an outside show and talk, that's different. That's exposure. That's giving me a venue to talk to people who don't sit here on this show every day and know who I am. They don't watch my gaming. They don't watch anything. And wow, wait a minute. Someone who stands for this kind of stuff is a little different from everybody else. That's interesting. That's fascinating, right? So, if there's a benefit for me to go in an interview with someone like Turkey Tom and talk to his audience or whatever, then maybe it's worth it, right? But that's what I have to really analyze here. It's not a matter of, is it going to be overly positive or overly negative? Because if you want to know the truth, I don't think it would be either. I feel like there would be positives and negatives. There's going to be times when he's going to talk about stuff that I've done wrong, stuff that he feels that I probably should be called out for, right? To which I'm going to fess up. Yeah, I probably did fuck up a lot. I'm a human. I made many, many mistakes in the 15 years I've been a YouTuber. I've had situations where I absolutely know I made the wrong decision. I treated people badly. I made bad business decisions for sure. And it it hurt me. And then that rolls over to my audience, because when you're someone who's crowdfunded, well, now guess who the responsibility goes on to keep me going? The viewers, because I have no other source of income, and that's not fair, right? And that's happened many times over the years, right? So yeah, there's rightfully things that he could easily call me out for and say, you did this wrong, should you done this better, blah blah blah. But here's the other thing too, all right? I could do that by myself, like I just did. Did I not? Did I not literally just do that right now and say, yeah, it's wrong when I make bad choices and those choices result in negativity, and that negativity hurts my business, and now that responsibility to keep the business going is on the viewers because I'm a crowdfunded guy. I just said it, right? Ultimately, I don't want it to be like that forever, but right now that's just how it is, right? There's nothing I can really do about that. That's the situation I'm in. So I can easily self-analyze too. The thing is, do my viewers really care for this, right? Is this something that they're interested in? Probably not. Again, this is more appealing to a bigger audience, a different audience than my normal viewership. You understand? So, really, there's so many factors involved to thinking if I should do this interview or not. All right? There's a lot of thought goes into this. Okay? So, enough beating around the bush. Let me tell you what happened last night. All this feedback is coming in. All right? And I'm like, all right, the last thing I'm going to do before I go to sleep, all right, I'm going to watch this supposed response video that Turkey Tom made a few days ago. Because I guess like 4 days ago, he made a response video about me responding to things he has said, or people told me about things that he had said about me in the documentary. So I responded to it. He watched clips of that, and then he responded to those clips, right? It was about a 20-minute video. I said, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch the video, and then I'm going to sleep on it. And I'm going to have all this feedback that I've gotten, you know, I'm probably going to get more feedback overnight, which I did, by the way. So thank you to everyone who continuously gave me feedback overnight. All right? And I said, all right, when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to try to figure this out, what I want to do. So that's what I did. I watched the 20-minute Turkey Tom, I guess it was on his alternate channel, his response video to what I had been saying. All right. Now, here's what I can tell you. This is the only content of Turkey Tom's I've ever seen. All right. He's a well-spoken individual. He's an intelligent individual. He can formulate coherent thoughts that aren't just dumb, insulting memes, which is already insane amount of points past anyone who would be considered one of my hate watchers or these idiotic memester morons on the internet who literally all they do is misrepresent me all day. The guy's leaps and bounds better than them. You know what I'm saying? He's actually like out to tell a story and or his take on a story, and it's entertaining. Like the 20-minute video I found entertaining. I was a little weirded because he was playing Metroid Prime instead of talking. Like he was talking, but it was Metroid Prime, and I'm like, I don't remember people doing that kind of stuff for ages. Like people used to do that on YouTube back in the day. People especially who were camera shy, they would actually have like gameplay rolling in the background while they talked over it, and their vlog would be them talking over gameplay. I haven't seen that in ages. Like, that's old shit. Wings of Redemption used to do over a decade ago, and I was like, that's a little weird that was in the video. And that's just a straight-up criticism, but that's not a negative. Like, it's not, the video wasn't horrible. I'm just saying it was weird. Why not be on camera talking if you have something to say rather than show completely unrelated gameplay? That it was actually distracting. I was like, why am I watching Metroid Prime? I don't even understand why this is on the screen. I want to see the person talk about the subject matter. I don't want to watch Metroid Prime. It was very weird, okay? But, hey, there's people who do it all the time, whatever. Essentially what he said in this 20-minute video is, first of all, he defended his stance on naming the video 10 Years of Failure, essentially saying, well, Phil doesn't feel he's a failure. He's in a great mental space. Good for him. And if he doesn't want to be in drama and he's happy, good for him. I'm happy for him. But that doesn't mean that essentially he couldn't have been better, that he couldn't have made better decisions, and that for the last 10 years, he's been on the decline, and I consider that failure. So really, it's a perspective thing. You know, I don't consider it failure. I would consider it absolutely decline, or, like I said, a downward slope. I don't think that it's failure, because failure would be, I'm insanely desperate, I'm going out of business, right? I don't have any other recourse. Everything is falling apart at the seams here, right? So I'm desperate, and I'm doing crazy stunts for money every day. Like sucking cucumbers and kissing chickens. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not me. I know I like taking stabs at Review Tech USA because I can't believe he still does that shit. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the case. I'm still someone who's true to myself, makes the content that I enjoy and my viewers enjoy. I have a full, this belief system that I stand by, and I can still do that, and I'm still successful. I'm still operating a successful business. So, again, I disagree with him saying it's failure. He thinks that's failure. That's a subjective thing. And he has the right, and he even says, I titled it to try to make it entertaining. I get it. It's called clickbait. You know, it is. It's a clickbait title. You want people to watch the documentary, you make it overly dramatic. You have a thumbnail of me insanely close up. Like this. Like this is the thumbnail of the video that he makes of me. Like this. Like you could see the boogers in my nose. And you could see like, hi, a decade of failure. Hi, how are you? Right? It's like, I get it. That's YouTube. That's the shtick of YouTube. That's what you do, right? People are like, Jesus, stop. Back up. What? You don't like getting up close and personal with your favorite YouTuber? You don't like that? Here, what's in my mouth? Do you like that? Okay, let's relax for a second here. Now we're just being silly, okay? All right. Everyone calm down. Everyone just relax. I got more to say, okay? Okay. So, again, continuing on with the video. There's a few things about the video, this 20-minute video that Turkey Tom made, that sometimes in the video, he says things, and I'm like, wow, that really resonates. That sounds great. And then he'll say something that immediately, like, contradicts it and makes it feel like almost like a red flag. And let me tell you. So, he'll be like, you know, he said to his audience, he wants to keep out of drama, and I respect that, and I get that. If he really is happy in his mental space where he is, and he likes what he's doing, then there's no reason, you know, for him to do anything further, you know. But then he'll say immediately after that, but you know, if he would just watch my 2-hour documentary and do a big live react to it, that would be good content for him. That would be good content for me, because then I could react back to his reaction, and then we could do more. And I was like, I'm listening to it. I'm like, so I get it. What it is there is now a community on YouTube, okay? It's a vicious circle kind of a deal, where someone says something, and it could be innocuous. It could be like a little comment. Someone responds to it. Then someone responds back to it. Then the reaction community watches the statement, the response of the response, and they create the next level of content out of that. And it just becomes this giant circle of spinning content of people all reacting to drama. All right? And you might think, well, that's the healthy YouTube ecosystem, right? That's absolutely what it's all about. Because when you do that, you could get more outside eyes on you. You could get some prominence. You could get some people to maybe watch what you're doing, right? It's all good for everybody, okay? Okay. But you have to understand that's only looks like that to the people who are in the inside of it, okay? So I will say this directly to Turkey Tom and others who like this kind of content. All right, I understand there's nothing wrong with you liking that. But you have to understand something. I'm 41 years old, all right? So I've been through a hell of a lot more in my life than most people who are watching this content or even making it, okay? I can tell you, from the outside, from people who are not in that vortex, you see it as a spinning circle of content, and it's all healthy, and even though it's dramatic, it's all in good fun, and it's growth, and it's everyone getting views and money, right? For me, I'm outside of it, and I'm looking down on top of all of this. Okay? Do you want to know what it looks like to me? It looks like a spinning toilet. It looks like a toilet full of shit, and someone hit the flush, and everyone's just spinning in a big circle in this endless spinning toilet that won't flush. It just keeps getting darker and browner as more people watch and contribute and comment and insult and extrapolate and make it worse and worse and worse. Do you get it? Because for me, when I started on YouTube 15 years ago, all right, I got into YouTube because it was a hobby. It was something to do. I actually previously had been someone who was traveled a lot and was actually more athletic, and I hurt my back. So I couldn't do that stuff anymore. So instead, I decided that I was going to get back into console gaming, and I just started making these silly commentary videos, raging at games, drinking, getting shit-faced drunk, and just, you know, ranting at games, and they actually blew up in popularity, right? And I didn't expect that, but it certainly wasn't anything that I took seriously. And then over the next 3 to 4 years, the fact that I took this ridiculous, silly attitude of nonchalantly making content, not being professional, and somehow blew up on YouTube, it's a miracle. It's a lucky story. It's a definitely right place, right time kind of a deal, because a million other people have tried to do it after me and failed, but I somehow succeeded. Don't ask me why, or maybe, again, just a lucky dude, right? But in all the years that I made content, all right, 15 years, by the way, that I've been a YouTuber, and out of those 15, 13 years, this has been my job, you'd probably be hard-pressed to watch that content and look and say, oh, in that time frame, Phil's really done horrible, awful things that hurt others here and 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 here. In reality, it's more like Phil did something stupid to hurt himself, right? Phil did this and that was dumb. He didn't change. He didn't adapt. He didn't do the right things early on to stay in with the times, right? He idiotically did this, and he streamed for how many years and ignored his live audience. I mean, that's so boneheaded. I know that now, but I didn't understand that back then. I streamed for like 4 years and never spoke to my live audience. What a fucking moronic move, right? So I get that, okay? But if you look at what I've made, the content that I've done, maybe you could argue early on, when I first started making content, there was some really dumb things I said and did. Because at that point, I didn't understand the power of YouTube. I didn't get that when I said something on YouTube that I had a big audience that listened and actually took that as like truth, because they looked up to me almost like an idol, which is crazy to think, because I never thought of myself as anything important. I just thought I was just a Joe Nobody playing games and dicking around and having fun. And it was a miracle that anyone wanted to watch me or anything like that. But yeah, a lot of the things that I said early on were very irresponsible, and you could be considered toxic and stuff like that. I made an active change in my life to be a better person, to stop making that kind of toxic content, and I feel like I am much better today than I was 15 years ago. And you just take a look, the content's like night and day from what it used to be. And some people say, well, it's more boring. Yeah, but also doesn't hurt anyone. It's not hurtful content, right? I, every night, can go to sleep and say, I had a good day today. I loved the game I played. I interacted with my audience. We had great conversation. Hey, I made money. I supported my family. And I go to sleep soundly. As opposed to, oh, well, what did I do today? Well, someone had a really bad day. This drama happened and they did something stupid. So I made a video about it, and I just basically, you know, ripped them a new asshole for 2 hours. And then everyone came to my stream. We all made fun of them. And it was great because everyone laughed at them and their misfortunes. And I made a bunch of money. There's a little difference there between the styles of content. Do you understand? And again, if you're in the YouTube vortex of that spinning content creation cycle, maybe you think there's nothing wrong with that. But for people outside of it, we look into it and we're like, what the hell? People think that's acceptable? People behave like that? Why would you want to be a part of that shit? Why would you ever want to get sucked into that stuff? Okay? Allow me to tell you a story. And I have never told this story publicly before. I will tell this a story to everyone right now publicly because I think this actually is very appropriate to the situation. All right? Last year, before all this drama with the LOLCow podcast, okay, I was friendly with Boogie. Over the years, we had a few conversations behind the scenes, back and forth. Not long conversations, very short ones, brief ones, a little, you know, how you doing? Hope you're doing all right, or whatever, back and forth, like Twitter DMs and shit like that, right? Okay, and one of the conversations that we had was about particularly working together on something, and at this point, there was a situation where we were talking early on about this LOLCow podcast and the possibility and stuff like that, right? And I'm going to paraphrase it, all right? I'm not going to sit here and read the direct DMs I had with Boogie. This was over a year ago. So again, this was before any of the drama of this year or anything like that. But basically, the conversation we had, and this, I really feel, this is the difference between myself and the other people who people consider LOLCows, all right? When you look at the Wings of Redemptions, when you look at the Boogies, and you look at these people, all right? Here's the difference between me and them, all right? And this is what you're going to understand. It's a lot different. As we're having this conversation, we're talking about the possibility of working with Keemstar on a podcast or whatever, right? So basically, Boogie said something to the effect, and by the way, I think this stream is about to play ads. No, I'm telling a story. I'm going to skip the ads, okay? Basically, the way he equated it, I know this is weird because I didn't bring this up. He did. Boogie actually said something to the effect of the way he sees YouTube or how YouTube is kind of like Walmart, all right? So let's think about that. It's kind of like Walmart. Well, Walmart, everyone knows, is a pretty bad business, right? Walmart comes into town with the lowest prices, the lowest cost for their products, and when a Walmart comes to town, they sweep in and they take over. They could cause all the small businesses in a town to go completely out of business, all right? They, sadly, underpay and mistreat their employees. It's well documented that they do this, okay? And the employees are overworked, underpaid, not trained, right? They'll have someone who's a door greeter, who's an elderly person. This is their job. This is great. They have a living. Oh, you're fired. We don't need you anymore. Why? What did I do? You didn't do anything wrong. We just don't want to pay you anymore. Bye. Right? This is how they are. This is their company. And there's countless stories of Walmart being a bad company in this regard. Now, Walmart is a fine company. They don't break laws. They do everything law-abiding and, you know, they're on the up and up. But, man, when they come in, they can completely wipe clean a small town, and now the whole town's focused on the Walmart, right? Now, you could argue positives and negatives about that, right? So basically, Boogie said this to me. Again, I'm paraphrasing, and he said something like, you know, when you look at people like working with Keemstar or working with other people on YouTube, this drama content on YouTube, he says, you look at it like Walmart. Like, you know Walmart has a ton of blood on their hands, but you still shop there, right? Because it benefits you. It's the best benefit to you and your family, the lowest prices, right? You get decent quality products, the lowest prices. Everyone still shops there, despite the fact you know this is not a great company. You still kind of just do it. You bite the bullet, right? And he said that to me because, again, we were having a conversation about the possibility of working together and stuff like that. I said, Boogie, I want you to understand something. I don't shop at Walmart. I never have. In my entire life, I've shopped at Walmart once. And it was at the height of the popularity of Street Fighter 4. They were the only store that had Street Fighter 4 joysticks. And at that time, I was buying and modding joysticks to sell on the internet as a project. So I had to buy it from them. They were the only company available to buy them from. And by the way, the one experience I had at Walmart was the worst I've ever had. I was supposed to go and pick up these joysticks and just bring them right home. I pre-ordered them online. They were there supposedly in stock. Just go, pay, pick it up, gone. I go there and I spent over 2 hours at Walmart to pick up these joysticks because they were understaffed. The person who works the pickup counter was not there that day. They had no idea where they were. They just didn't show up for work. None of the management actually knew how to run the pickup counter. They had employees running around the store like chickens with their heads cut off. No one knew anything. It took the employee 2 hours as they scoured the warehouse to find the joysticks and finally give them to me so I could go home. Okay? So, here's the deal. I don't like Walmart because I know that they're a scumbag company. I know that they mistreat their employees. I know that they don't pay enough. I know that they ruin the towns they move into. They have absolutely no regard for anything around them. All they care about is that they're making money. That's it. They don't give two shits. And when a Walmart moves in, that town now is beholden to Walmart. What do? All our other businesses went out of business because they can't compete with the prices of Walmart. Now we got to shop at Walmart, and there's nothing we can do about it. So now it's a Walmart town, right? That's YouTube in a nutshell. That's literally YouTube. And that's this LOLCow culture on YouTube. What you found is you found people who are so desperate, right? They need to make money in some way. They can't just operate anymore and have a life on YouTube for some reason. Maybe their popularity has waned. Maybe they just made a ton of mistakes or whatever. And the only way that they can get attention on YouTube is by creating drama. So what they do is they create the drama. They know the drama's toxic. They know that it's harmful. They know that it's not good. But that's the only way that they can get by. So they sit there and they create drama. And then everyone else sits outside and says, ha, now we capitalize. And we jump on this. And we make 2-hour documentaries. And we do podcasts about them. And we slam them. And we rip them a new butthole. And we constantly make fun of them. And we meme on them. And we milk them. Milk them. I want you to think about that statement. Because this is coming full circle now. As I was watching Turkey Tom's 20-minute response video about me. Okay? He distinctly said 2 things in the video, all right, that resonated with me overnight as I slept on it. And the first he said was, I wish he would watch my documentary so he could react to it, I could react to his reaction, and then he would come on the LOLCow podcast, or the LOLcast, or whatever the fuck it's even called. I don't know, because they had to change the name because they're so stupid. They made a show that they couldn't even use the name of, and now they had to change it. I don't give a fuck what it's actually called anymore. So literally, the reason he wants me to watch his documentary is for more content for himself. Do you understand? He admits it right there in the video. He says it. And then he says at the end of the video, well, you know, unless Phil decides to actually do this interview with me, I think I'm done milking him. Milking him. I want you to, again, think about that. All right? And then I started to read into what people were saying about Tom and or other things going on, and I started reading messages. And basically, here's the information that I got overnight. Are you aware that Turkey Tom is part of this LOLCow culture and LOLCow cast? I didn't know that. I don't watch it. I'm not paying attention to it. Oh yeah, he's called one of the LOLCow farmers. Him and Mudahar and others, they're showing up to every show. And they're not highlighted like LOLCows. They're highlighted like big shots, right? They come to the show in order to basically degrade the subjects of the show, which at this point, I guess, is Boogie and Wings and whoever this other person is who was my replacement, because I didn't do the show, even though you can't replace someone who never agreed to do the show. But whoever they are, I guess, right? They're basically, it's like a shooting gallery. Like, here's the people who are supposed to be the hosts, but in reality, they're just the targets of ridicule and toxic behavior. Again, they're just people shooting down at them. That's the show. That's apparently what this show is. And Turkey Tom is one of these people who essentially, oh yeah, you see, we're better than them, so it's time for us to shoot down at them and basically insult them and do this kind of fucked up stuff to them constantly. All right? And for what I'm and again, I'm not watching this show. I have nothing to do with it. I want nothing to do with it. But people contact me. People actually contacted me this week and said, Phil, you have no idea. You made the absolutely, positively, 100% correct decision to not work with Keemstar and be on that show. You predicted it completely correctly. This was not a show where it was going to be the host talking about topics intelligently, respectfully. It's literally the ridicule those people show. That's the whole point. And it's just gross. It's toxic. It's insulting. From what I'm to understand, they're being degraded to the point where I guess Boogie was forced to get on his hands and knees and apologize to Keemstar because he went on someone else's show and there was drama, and he's like, you should have done that on our show to make us money. Now apologize to me that you did this because you're so stupid. And he did it, apparently. Right? Now, again, I didn't see any of this. This is people telling me this. And I'm like, can you imagine? That's what people want to be involved in? You think this is valid content on YouTube and the internet? To literally just be a bullying group. I mean, it should really be called We Bully People Podcast. That's all it is. The bullying podcast. We just bully people all day like it's a fucking schoolyard of people beating down on people. That's what the show is, right? So, thank God I'm not involved. Yeah, because I told you guys, I knew. I'm not stupid. I'm wise to this shit. When you tell me that the name of the show is the LOLCow Show or the LOLCow Podcast, there's no respect. There's no intention of actually helping people or doing something positive. That's a toxic show. That's the point. From the day it was incepted, I knew that was the point. You know, that's why I want nothing to do with it. I'm so here. And again, here's the difference. Boogie and Wings, they shop at Walmart, right? anything to get ahead, anything to make a buck, anything to fucking get them to a position where they're doing something because they need that, right? I don't need that. I'm successful. I have a business. I'm good. People come and watch my content. They enjoy my content. They support my content. I do positive content all day. I don't do this LOLCow shit. People try to pull me into their spinning vortex of drama shit. So, but I stay out of it. So why would I want to be involved in a show like that? I'd be a moron, right? And if anything, this is right now representative when if you're here every day on my show and you're watching my content and you're enjoying everything that I'm doing, is this not evidence that you don't have to be sucked into a toxic vortex of crap on YouTube to be successful? Is this not evidence that you can stand alone and stand apart from all that crap and you can still be happy? Right? I'm not in a desperate situation where I have to milk a situation because someone made a 2-hour documentary about me. I don't have to now react to it to get some kind of boost in views so I can make money today. I can still do my content that I absolutely love making and still make a living. And I don't have to degrade myself down to that level of crap that I feel is very harmful. And it's okay if people disagree because obviously there's a huge group of people out there that disagree and think that this is fine. Good for you. Well, there's some of us who are older and more mature for that shit, and we don't care for that. I certainly don't. I never wanted to be involved with that level of shit. My involvement with Boogie and Wings was going to be a positive podcast where we talk, we interact, we have good topics about things. Maybe talk about our lives, our personal situations. You can talk about current events in the news and everything. Dude, I do this every day on my own show. Do you think it would be that hard to do it with 2 other people who we just talk? It would be an easy show to do. And by the way, it wouldn't be toxic. It would be fun to do. And everyone else out there could react to the show and do their own toxic shit about it. And I'm sure they would. But at least the core show would be great. And it would be good for our viewer bases and our communities and our audiences. That's what I wanted to do. But apparently, this is more important than that, right? Taking this big paycheck to be on this toxic-ass show where it's a bunch of bullies in a shooting gallery is more important than actually doing something positive for the internet, positive for your audience. You know what I'm saying? You tell me that anyone in their right mind would think that that's okay. I'm sorry, but anyone who's involved in this LOLCow culture shit, you got to get yourself fucking reassessed at a fucking professional. I dare you to go to a medical professional, a psychiatrist. Tell them you sit on the internet and all you do is you bully people or you laugh at other people bullying people. And you watch degrading content about people who you think are pathetic. And this is your actual source of enjoyment. Tell me tell me what a medical professional would say in response to that. I would love to hear it. Because there's a difference between, oh, there's some celebrity gossip, or, oh no, my entire source of entertainment is actually when other people get harmed, or we bully people, we degrade them. It's fucked up, all right? So, I watch a 20-minute video from Turkey Tom. It's my only content of his I've ever watched. And I find the guy's well-spoken, he's charismatic, he's intelligent, he can make a point well. I disagree with him on the point of the fact that he thinks that I've had 10 years of failure. And that's okay. We can have that subjective disagreement and agree to disagree. But the moment that he says, oh, you see, I just wish he would react to the documentary because that would give me more content. Then I could talk about it on the LOLcast, or he can come on the podcast. And then we have even more content to make. And then I could milk him further. But for now, I'm done milking him. All right? That's fucking disgusting. That's not even like a joke. That's not funny. That's fucking vile. All right? That's toxic. That's harmful. That's fucked up. And the fact that you can just nonchalantly say something like that. Oh yeah, I'm done milking someone today. I want you to know how disgusting that sounds. You're milking a human. Okay? Not even for sus. You're not milking them for milk. You're milking them for profits, for money. And every time you do that, you hurt them. But you don't care. There's no quality, no moral compass here. Who cares, right? You're dehumanizing the person. You're you're literally categorizing them as an animal, not a human. You've degraded them to the point that they're just cattle. All right? That's really fucked up. It is. It's completely messed up. I can't believe people think that's okay, right? When you're watching that LOLCow show and you're seeing people who are supposed to be, oh, we're better than them and we're just going to bully them. What makes you better than them? Exactly. What makes you better than them? Because you're toxic? Because you're okay with bullying people on the internet? You have no morals or values? That makes you better than them? Because you have an association with someone like Keemstar who's pretty much the worst of the worst when it comes to that kind of behavior? I mean, what makes you think, Turkey Tom, what makes you think you're better than me? That you milk me for content, right? And the funny part about all that is, it could easily be reciprocated. Someone could do that to Tom, someone could do that to Mudahar, someone could do this. They have done it to Keemstar, actually, and Keemstar ain't happy about it. Remember the H3H3 beef that he had? And when he got roasted on his fucking balls, he hated that shit. Man, he was so upset that someone would criticize him the same way that he's criticized everybody else on the internet, right? It could easily be flipped. But the thing is, you'll look for the easy targets, right? If you already find someone like a Boogie or a Wings or a DSP, and you find someone who's already the subject of ridicule, and you just keep ridiculing them, well, no one's going to care when they flip that on you. Right? Right now, if I sat here and I made an hour roast of Turkey Tom, no one would care because I'm the LOLCow, right? The thing is, I have no interest in that. I have no interest in researching the guy, finding out what failures he's had over the years. I don't care about what his interests are, what his mistakes are, and I don't care to make a toxic video about him to make money or profits. That's not me. You know what I want to do? I want to sit here with my audience, and I want to have fun, and I want to relax, and I want to enjoy video games, which is the whole point of why I started making content 15 years ago. And I want that to continue. I want that positivity and that fun and that safe, interesting environment to continue. So that way, every day when I turn my stream off, I said, I just had a good day. We enjoyed games. We had fun conversation. I made a living. Everyone's happy. No one's hurt. Until you can do that, you have failed. All right? So every moment that you're going to say 10 years of failure, Dark Side Phil. No. I'm happy and successful being who I am, and I don't hurt anyone when I make my content. Do you understand? That's success. The failure is if the only way that you can be successful in life is to step on others, to bully others, to push them down under your heel of your boot, and you have absolutely no conscience to tell you that that's bad. If that's the situation you're in and that's your level of success, I want nothing to do with your level of success. And I wish you the best. You go ahead, you do what you want, you enjoy your bully show, and you beat up people for a living on the internet. But I'm going to issue a word of warning, all right? A very harsh word of warning. And I want you to understand this is not coming from me because I'm well-adjusted and I'm a good person and I feel that ultimately I'm happy where I am, all right? I want all these people who feel like they're safe in their vortex of drama to be very careful, okay? I really feel like people need to start wising up, all right? And here's why I say this. Because we've already seen situations where people who've been bullied have gone crazy. We've seen this. It's documented, okay? And it's only a matter of time that if you think you feel safe doing this kind of content, this messed up, toxic, really harmful content, and you think that it's good, right? Oh, this is fine because everyone makes out. It's money. It's Walmart. Everyone accepts Walmart, okay? It's just a matter of time until someone snaps. And I'm actually worried that one of these days, and I'm not saying it's going to be Tom. I'm not saying it's going to be Keemstar. I'm not saying who it's going to be. Someone's going to make a documentary about someone. It's going to be the wrong person. And that person's going to fucking lose it, man. And that's going to be, you know, and whether it's self-harm or harm of others or whatever I'm saying, you know, that's dangerous shit. You're treading. You're fucking with people's minds. You're fucking with people's brains and emotions of people who probably already aren't well adjusted. Especially some of these stories that you've told and shit. You know what I'm saying? This is dangerous shit you're dealing with. And I think what it is people are in this culture where they just think everything's fine, everything's fair, everything's safe, everything's okay, because it's all accepted on YouTube. You're right? All right, listen. It's legal, right? It's legal. You can do it, but you gotta be careful. You know, there's a difference between I made a documentary and it was even-handed and fair, or I made a documentary, but I really hope someone responds to it so that I can milk them for content and dehumanize them constantly endlessly so we can all get all over on it. It's like, what? Do you not see the difference between that? And it's gonna come to a point. It really is gonna come to a point where someone's gonna snap. And I tell you right now, it ain't gonna be me. I'm happy. I'm good, man. Like I said, I'm good. I'm in a good situation. I have a great family life, thankfully, right? I've had times in my life in the past where things were awful. Things are good, you know? I just gotta stay my course and not make the same mistakes that I made in the past, and just keep going the way I'm going, and hopefully things will go well for me in the future, right? But after getting all this feedback and everything, and seriously like weighing this situation of how it's going, I'm like, I didn't know anything about this LOLCow show or anything. I had no idea what it really was. I had an idea of what it was going to be. That's why I wanted nothing to do with it. But when people started telling me what it was, I was like, do they not get it? Like, do they not understand what they're doing? Like, you are trying to normalize fucked up bullying behavior. You're trying to say that's fine. That's okay to beat up people for profit. That's not okay. In no case is it ever okay. All right? And it doesn't matter if it's illegal and people get away with it. It's still wrong. All right? Now, maybe that's me because I grew up Roman Catholic. I was raised in a certain household, a certain kind of moral values or whatever. But to me, when you tell me that, you know what I'm saying? Again, they think they're protected. They're not. At any moment, and I learned this the hard way, right? You think that you're protected in life and you think that everything's okay, and in a moment's notice, something could flip on its head, right? One day you're going to be doing a documentary on Joe Blow from Hoboken, New Jersey, and how he did something stupid on the internet, and you don't know how he's going to react to it, all right? And you got to be so fucking careful, man. This is wild to think. And the thing, I hope that Turkey Tom understands when I say all this, I'm actually trying to look out for his best interests, all right? I think this guy's charismatic. I think he's intelligent. I think he can make good content. I think what he should do right now is immediately quit that show. This very moment that he hears this, he should quit the fucking LOLCow show and try to do something better for himself. Because I know he can. Because I know that he's smart. And I know that he's intelligent. I know he's charismatic. I know he can make good content that's not harmful. He has to stop with that. It's not even the documentary about me I have the problem with. It's all this other shit that he's doing. You know what I'm saying? That's fucked up. And you've got to separate yourself in life. At some point in life, you've got to take a stand for what you believe in. And you got to understand that it's all about who you associate with as well. And that's just not the right path to go down where he's going. So, all things considered, when you think that it's okay to say you're going to milk someone or you've milked someone like a dehumanized animal, and you think that's fine, that's totally morally acceptable because I got views and money off of it. That's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line. I'm not going to have anything to do with Turkey Tom. I'm not going to have anything to do with Mudahar. I'm not going to have anything to do with Keemstar. I'm not going to have anything to do with Boogie. I'm not going to have anything to do with Wings of Redemption. I'm not going to have anything to do with anyone associated with that kind of fucking behavior on the internet. That is the complete antithesis of what I stand for on the internet. So, if that means that I just sit here and I play games with my audience, as small as it is, and I'm here forever, that's fine. I'm happy with that. I don't need toxic popularity for making bad choices, and being milked. I can't believe that you would even say that in a video and think that's, oh yeah, I'm milking people today. Like, huh? Like, what? You think that's fine? To talk like that. That's not fine. That's really messed up. Like, I mean it. Go talk to a psychiatrist and tell them you milked someone today. And let's see how they respond to what you said. They're going to be like, dude, what did you just say? Like, huh? But this is it. It's been normalized on YouTube. This behavior has been normalized by people like Keemstar. So it's acceptable now. No, it's not. It's really not. You have to understand. Normal people think this is endlessly fucked up. They don't agree with this culture, this spinning toilet culture of toxic shit. It's awful. And the quicker, the absolute quicker you get out of this toxic vortex, the better. Especially for someone like Turkey Tom, who seems like he's got his head on his shoulders, he's smart, he's intelligent, he could make great content, but he has to get out of the toxic vortex now before you're stuck in it forever. Because guess what? You'll be the next LOLCow. You'll be the next one who 10 years down the line, you're desperate for content. And what are you going to do to get it? Well, all you ever did was make fun of people. No one cares about you anymore. Now what are you supposed to do? Right? You're the next one on the list, man. So, no, I'm not doing no goddamn interview with him or anyone else involved with any of that toxic shit. And that's my final answer. Okay. All right, guys, I'm done. I got it off my chest, and now you got my answer, and now we can go back to normality around here. And the funny part is, you absolutely, positively know that these people are going to talk about it in their content or whatever, but that's the last thing they're going to get out of me. You know? It's just stupid. It's pointless. It's dumb. It's so different from anything that I would ever want to be dealing with. And it's sad. It really is sad. You know? But hey, that's what YouTube has become, right? This toxic place. And I refuse to engage with that. So, hope you respect my decision. And again, I literally don't have any problems with Turkey Tom or his documentary. I haven't seen it. But I certainly have problems with behavior like that, right? Like, that's really endlessly fucked. So, I'm not going to involve myself with it, okay? Okay. All right. Quick shout-outs. American Manga Undertaker re-upping their membership. You haven't watched the documentary. Why would you want to speak with him? If we want you to speak with him, are you gonna watch the documentary? The point was that he was supposed to, he wanted to talk to me about my history as a content creator and stuff like that, which I'm always interested in talking about. Why wouldn't I want to talk about 15 years of content creation, how I've changed and evolved over time, how YouTube has changed over time, how my community, you know, enjoys what I do but has to deal with this harassment from this crazy group of fucking haters and shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's an interesting conversation to me that still hasn't happened. When have I ever had that conversation with a single person? The side scrollers could have had that conversation with me. They weren't interested. They were interested in just regurgitating the same exact bullshit that my haters say. So literally, it was the most boring 5-hour interview you could have because they didn't actually get into anything interesting at all. Instead, they just asked dumb questions. So, I mean, that was their chance, right? So, that's what I mean. Like, that would be a great interview. It doesn't have to be about me watching a documentary at all. You know? GDTV, re-upped his membership, says Keem told Boogie to off himself a few days ago. What's sad is that I would say, that's slanderous. You can't say that. But I would actually believe that he said it too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would believe that. I don't know if he did. I don't watch the show. I never will. But I would believe it. He's done it before with other people. You know who I'm talking about. So, that's not surprising to me that he would have done it again. And by the way, why do you think that he acts like that and does that, right? Why do you think that? Because guess what? He gets away with it, right? He got away with it before, so why not do it again? Until there's consequences for actions, the actions will continue. And if YouTube allows this kind of toxic content, the actions will continue. The bullying, the insane amounts of mistreatment of people, the drama, the toxic shit will continue until YouTube puts its foot down and says, what are we doing? Why are we promoting and allowing this? Why are we allowing monetization? That's the other thing. Why would you ever allow monetization of that content? That content should be immediately demonetized. No monetization whatsoever possible. And any channel that has that kind of bullying behavior should completely be removed from the YouTube Partner Program. Should. That shouldn't be allowed. What are you, crazy? An advertiser wants to have their product represented on a toxic bullying show? Huh? But again, we'll be the ones who have to suffer, because they'll be the example of why YouTube gets demonetized and loses advertisers, but it'll be the common person who makes normal content that'll suffer because we'll also lose all the ads and shit, right? It's pretty messed up, right? There you go. Okay, let's continue. Let's see here. Likely a bunch of troll tips today, so I'm probably going to skip a bunch of these. Yep, troll tip number 1. Troll tip number 2. I knew it. You always know when you got a bunch of dollar tips coming in randomly during my discussion of something important that it's going to be a bunch of idiots. Troll tip number 3. There you go. And troll tip number 4. There you go. So here's the funny part, too. Because idiotic people will say something. Oh, I misclicked. Okay. Idiotic people will say something. Like, for example, they'll say this. Oh, well, you see, Phil, well, didn't you just milk Turkey Tom? Right? Didn't you just milk it? You just did a whole podcast on the topic, so you milked him for content. I didn't milk him for content. If I didn't do this show, I had plenty of other things to talk about. We got a whole suggestion box of positive things from my viewers we've been waiting to respond to for weeks, and I barely get to it, right? I didn't have to do this. In fact, I kind of feel this was a wasted show. By the way, how many contributions exactly have come in during my show today? We had 1 membership and 4 troll dollar tips that'll likely be charged back, and not, what are you talking about? People don't come to my content for toxic stuff and then contribute. They don't, because that's not what I'm about. When I waste time talking on shit like this actually hurts the business more than helps. Do you understand? If I just sat here and I'm talking about my content, gaming, stuff like that, that's what people like. That's why people come to this channel. They don't come here to watch. They want to know if they want to see drama. They go to one of the restreamers. They go to one of my hate watchers who literally misrepresents me every day, and they watch their shit. Good. Go over there. Stay the fuck off of my channel. Right? I don't benefit from that. You can't say I milked Turkey Tom. I didn't get anything out of it. I literally got no benefit from this besides now I've gotten my perspective out there. People understand it. They can agree or disagree. And that's it. Right? So, there you go. And now I'm done with it. And now I can move on and have to talk about it again because I'm done with this topic. It's a done deal for me, man. So, there you go. No. There's the difference is Turkey Tom or any of these kind of YouTube drama content creators, right, makes that content and they benefit from it hugely because the person who's the bully always makes out, right? The bully, oh yeah. Although I don't get that. I thought the whole point was that we have this anti-bullying movement and we have all this stuff where society's supposed to be changing that's not allowed in schools anymore and shit. But yet on YouTube, it's more rampant than ever. It's like the opposite on the internet. Real life is changing. The internet isn't. The internet's going the other way. You tell me. Right? Anyway. Continuing on. I received a $25 tip from 1 Minute Man. Okay. Here you go. Here's 1 Minute Man's take. He goes, videos about you, bad, slanderous videos, get millions of views. You already have peak exposure on YouTube from those videos. Why don't you ask him to record questions and submit them to you? You'll answer them on your channel. Why give this guy millions more views for nothing? And here's the thing. All right? Because here, I can tell you 1 Minute Man, I can tell you exactly how the hell he'll respond. Oh, well, no one watches your channel. That's what he'll say. No, it's not that no one watches. It's that my positive viewing audience watch, right? He has a broad audience of 1 million viewers who are there for toxic, negative shit. Because every video he puts out is toxic, negative shit. Do you see? Literally every video he puts out is toxic and negative. So, to him, that's the audience. People aren't going to Turkey Tom's channel to find out what good thing happened today. Right? Who would, right? So, that's the point. Yes, I get millions of views of exposure on his channel, but none of it benefits me. He thinks it does. It doesn't. Like, I wish he would react to my documentary and then we could have content back and forth. Literally, I will get nothing out of it. At all. Zero. There's nothing to be benefited by me from drama. Nothing. I've seen it time and time again. I've had viral tweets. I had tweets that went viral on Twitter 2 years ago during the Oscars when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. I had the most viral tweet of the entire Oscars. Guess how many new viewers it brought to my content? 0. And that was a positive tweet. And I got like thousands of new followers on Twitter for it. 0 effect on my business. No one cares. No one cares about this toxic shit and virality on the internet. Nobody gives a fuck. They care about the content. So if people are looking for toxic content, they go to Turkey Tom. They don't go to Turkey Tom, watch the toxic video about Darkside Phil, and then have it spill over to positivity. Maybe 2 people, right? I'll tell you, I got a bunch of negative shit. I got a bunch of negative people leaving me negative comments after that documentary. Nothing positive. You see? That's the difference. So, if I were to take his questions, answer them legitimately, and put them on my channel, no one would care. Because no one on my channel cares anyway. People on this channel just want to watch gaming content. That's the whole point of the channel. It's called DSP Gaming, right? It's not DSP Drama. It's not DSP Responds. It's DSP Gaming, right? I have a DSP React channel. No one cares about it there either. You know? I know. I've tried. You know, it's stupidity. But that's the thing. These idiots think that somehow this benefits me. It does not benefit me at all. Oh, it's free exposure. It's bad exposure. There's not such things. Not all exposure is good exposure. That's completely false. You know? The only people for whom all exposure is good exposure is people who are absolutely desperate and have nothing positive to bring, so therefore any attention they get is attention that's good for them. You know? You know, people on that show. Notice I'm not on that show for good reason. I don't have to be. I don't want to be. Get it? Got it? Good. Okay. Bloomkit did a super chat. It's no different from celebrity roasts. People like seeing controversial people get razzed and clap back. You're right. Except celebrity roasts are done with the permission of the celebrity. You know? Did you know that? When they set up those events or whatever, they're set up with the permission of the celebrity. The celebrity says, go roast me and I'll roast you back. It'll be beneficial for everyone. Correct? It's not someone did a 2-hour, you know, awful roast on someone and then they're forced to respond because someone already did toxic stuff about them for 2 hours. It's a difference. I've already said this, and I'll say it again. Literally no one at all on the internet who has ever made a video about me has contacted me first and said, I would like your input in my video. I would like to have you as part of this event or documentary to offset the toxic stuff people say about you so it's a fair and balanced documentary. Instead, they make the content first, then they expect me to react to it so they get more free content. Do you understand the difference? That's the difference. So, I understand what you're saying, except that's not an equivalent situation at all. Oh, by the way, I'm not a big celebrity. I'm not someone who benefits from being razzed or lampooned at all. I've had 10 plus years of that. Really, I have. I've had over 10 years of toxic behavior thrown my way. I don't benefit from it. At this point, you know, I have a hard time even getting someone to legitimately check out my stuff because all they hear is the toxic shit. And then I'm expected to defend myself after the fact, and I never do. I just say, I don't care, and I move on, right? And that's correct. Drew Corporation says, here's the sad part. You put in all this work in the last hour to respond, you know. You're right. I intelligently thought, I took in everyone's feedback. I intelligently thought out my response. I wanted to make sure it wasn't an inflammatory response, that it was a constructive response. I hope Turkey Tom takes it to heart. I don't know if he will. That's his choice. But he says, others are just going to clip and clip and clip and reap the benefits off of this. You're right. 100% correct. 100%. That's what's wrong with YouTube. That's exactly what's wrong with YouTube. And again, it's only allowed because YouTube hasn't actually enforced or put their foot down on this kind of content. This bullying content shouldn't be allowed. It's fucked up. It's toxic. Or at the very least, allow it, but there's absolutely no reason anyone should be able to benefit from it with a business standpoint. There should be no monetization of that content whatsoever. No partnering of a channel that has that content. No ads on that content, right? Because then, overnight, that content will go away. Because if you can't monetize it, no one would do it. Because that's all it's about anyway, is money based off of popularity. That's why they make that content. Because drama sells. So the moment that you make it that drama can't be monetized, it'll go away. It's a simple solution, but why would you think YouTube doesn't do that? Think about it, right? Why do you think they wouldn't do that? Right? Think about it. It's not a tough decision at all to make. Or a tough deduction to make. There's benefit there. They're making money off of it too, right? So there you go. Anyway, why do I think I'm the topic of conversations and documentaries? Because I'm an easy target because I've been around for 15 years, all right? When I started, I made a lot of big mistakes. I know that now, and I've already fessed up to those mistakes. Those first 5 years, it was like constant comedy of errors because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I was just a moron, but again, there was no track record. There was no blueprint to follow to say what's the right way or wrong way to go about doing this. I was just flubbing it. I didn't have friends who were into the industry. I didn't have anyone who do video editing. I didn't know anyone who was into this stuff at all. I had a partner network with Machinima who never helped me. They literally barely talked to me. I was left alone to do whatever I wanted to my own devices. So, you know, those first 5 years, tons of mistakes. And then the next 10 years of ridicule based off of this is how you don't play. And again, viral memes of negativity that got popular on YouTube. If you look at my situation compared to the others, like I said, the people that are on that LOLCow show, they're completely different. I'm nothing like those two. But it's hilarious because people still draw art to try to make me look like those two. They'll actually literally draw me like a giant globulous guy, like I weigh like 300 pounds, and I look like them, and I look nothing like them, I act nothing like them, the content I make is nothing like theirs. We're completely different situations in life, in everything. But they want to try to group me in because I've been the whipping boy of the internet for 15 years, so they think there's the easy target, there's the easy one, there's the meme, right? That everyone can recognize, so just take the shot. That's everyone wants to take a shot at the easy one, right? There you go. It's that simple. It's not rocket science here. This is pretty simple stuff. Anyway, so again, we've now gone long. I knew this would be a long podcast, but I'm glad that we've got it out of the way. Because much like with the Side Scrollers podcast and all that shit, this is my last discussion on the subject. I don't care if Turkey Tom responds. I don't care if anyone else responds. I don't care what they say on their dumb fucking shows. I don't give a shit. I'm out of it now, completely 100%. I am moving on positively with my own stuff. I have nothing to do with their shit. I'm done. I've moved past it already. We're good to go. Full speed ahead with all of the stuff that we want to do that I've already got a busy schedule of. We don't need to waste time on this shit anymore. You understand? It's done. It's in the past. I've addressed it, right? So there you go. Okay? All right, so that's that. Normally we would have Q&A. We'd have all this stuff. We don't have time for it now. The podcast went too long. But at least it's done, right? And now we can move on. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to adjourn. And I'm going to switch over to my React channel. I hope that you all will stay with me and enjoy and support the React show over there on DSP Reacts. This is going to be a good time. And I hope that you guys will join me. There's actually some pertinent, interesting stuff on Thanksgiving and Black Friday and other stuff this week. So it should be a good week for React stuff. So thank you for the show. Thanks for listening. Sorry that the entire show was basically derailed by this, but at least now it's out of the way. I've said my piece on it. And I certainly hope that people will now move on from it. I am. So if you try to get me back into it, you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm not dealing with that shit anymore. Let's go and react. And by the way, please come back tonight if you want to see Starfield Endgame. If not, tomorrow we are back to regularly scheduled full-time gaming with the games that are new. So there you have it. Thank you all. Thanks for watching the Level 1 podcast, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another full and fun day of good stuff. Peace out.